are.
Okay, Jane, are we ready in the front? Okay, then we will go ahead. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, March 8th, 2023, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the board meeting. We'll call this meeting to order at 9 o'clock a.m. You can join today's board meeting via phone. Dial 971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. Audio capabilities are listen only and offered as a best effort for the public. Our meeting is also live streamed, and you can join us by going online to tctvonline.com and click on live broadcasts. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute your phone when your agenda item is ready to be discussed. For those joining via computer, please unmute your microphone and turn on your camera when your agenda item is called. All others must remain muted with their cameras off. Thank you. Public comment. Those intending to provide public comment to the board may attend in person or email submissions to publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us. Public comments received by 12 p.m. on Tuesday will be distributed to the board, posted online before the meeting, and become part of the public record. You may also provide public comment virtually by registering ahead of time. To register, please email publiccomments@co.tillamook.or.us by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday prior to the board meeting. Public comments can also be mailed to the Board of Commissioners Office, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon, 97141. For more information on public comment options, please visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. Do we have anyone signed up in the room, or has anyone registered online for public comment?
We do. We have one.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, we have called this meeting to order, so we invite everyone in the room to please sign the guest list, and then we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Bell, do you
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will begin with our public comment. And can you time for me? I'm sorry, I didn't bring my phone today. Good morning, and can you state your name and area of residence for the record, please?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Ethel Bailey. I live in Escalon, which is in South County. I'm just going to make a few comments today about agenda item at least number 8. This is permission for out-of-state travel for Commissioner Yamamoto. The amount actually wasn't linked for quite a while. You guys probably know that. But it did look like it came out this morning. It's $1,500. I'm sure those of us working in state government are looking at budgets, and it's not a whole lot of money. I will remind the commissioners that they recently took a trip, all of them, to Washington, D.C. It looks like, I know Mary Beth Bell's amount for travel was $2,500. And I just want to point out that when the commissioners say things like, and I'm going to give some examples, homelessness is a hidden issue in Tillamook County. We cannot meet to conduct county business outside of business hours, except for on specific dates when we can, and we'll flex our schedules that day. Or, my recent favorite, ODOT did a good job during the snowstorm clearing the roads, despite the fact that Cascade Head was close to 2 days. These statements seem out of touch. And continued travel outside of our county, when we need you guys here to be looking at things like, what exactly is the homeless problem? Maybe go behind the power building here. And what can be done, or talking to everyday citizens. We would rather have you here a little more often. I appreciate the advocacy in Salem. I understand that's important. But we'd rather have you here, spending a little bit less money traveling. The other, if you need more training, my suggestion is constitutional training. It seems to me like you're always stepping outside of the scope of what government is supposed to do. If you're interested, we're actually holding classes right now. These at 6:30 at Cloverdale Baptist Church, and I would be glad to see you there. Anyway.
Okay. I should have pointed out at the beginning, we do not have Commissioner Yamamoto with us today. He is in Salem providing advocacy. There is a bill that is specifically related to, I think this one is a broadband bill that he's advocating for this morning. He was there, I believe it was Monday, advocating for a bill relating to confined feeding operations related to our dairies. That's very important for our economy. So he's there again today, advocating on behalf of the needs of Tacoma County. So he's not with us today. All right, so non-agenda items, I'm gonna let you know that we have one non-agenda item that we will take at the end of our agenda following item number 21. Okay, with that, we will start through our regular agenda. We start with a consent calendar item today. The annual liquor license renewal applications for Alice's Country House, Beach Walk, Bear Creek Artichokes, Beaver Firearms and Grocery, Ben and Jeff's Burgers and Tacos, Hebo Market, Jetty Fishery, Los Coporales Restaurant, Moeller Co-op Store, Neatarts Bay Garden RV Resort, PC4, Pleasant Valley RV Park, South Prairie Store, Sportsman's Pub and Grub, and the Cafe on Hawk Creek, Farview Jetty Store, J90 Acres, and Escalade Trading Company.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the consent calendar.
I would second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving into our legislative and administrative agenda, we will start with discussion and consideration of a 12th amendment to Oregon Health Authority 2021-2023 Intergovernmental Agreement number 169528 for the financing of public health services. We have Marlene Petman, Director of Health and Human Services this morning. Good morning, Marlene.
Good morning. Yes, as indicated, this is the 12th amendment of our intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority for financing of public health services. This amendment pertains to two of our program elements. They're indicated on attachment B in this agreement, and they're typically the program elements are listed as PE, and then they have a number with them. So today we're talking about PE-12-01 and PE-13-01. This amendment basically serves as a carryover for both of these funding program elements. PE-1201 is for $4,285, which is being carried over so that we can expend it by this June, 6/30 of 2023, and PE 13-01, which is for tobacco prevention and education program in the amount of $12,231, which is also carried over, but has a longer period for expenditure through the end of the biennium that could possibly be carried over if needed. We make sure that we submit our request to allow us to fully expend all the resources that are allocated from the Oregon Health Authority to provide services to our county. That's why you see regular reports. That's why you also see amendments. So first one, the $4,000 for emergency preparedness response, and the second for tobacco prevention and education, for a total of $16,516 in this amendment, which has been reviewed by legal and by our staff here. So it is now before you.
Perfect, thank you. Questions, Commissioner?
I do not have any questions about this amendment.
Okay, nor do I. These come before us fairly regularly. The state of Oregon is known for making its changes as we go through. This one is a good one. This one is carried forward. So we appreciate the ability to continue to utilize the funds. So I think we're ready.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the 12th amendment to the Oregon Health Authority 2021-2023 Intergovernmental Agreement number 169528 for the financing of public health services.
And I would second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to item number 7, discussion and consideration of a resolution in the matter of proclaiming 2023 as the 100th year of the Kiwanis Club of Tillamook in Tillamook County, Oregon. And we have Melody Ayers, the president of the Kiwanis Club of Tillamook, with us today, along with a nice full gallery of Kiwanis members, which I'm very happy to see here with us. We appreciate having you all come for this really fun event. So Melody, if you want to give us a little information, that would be fabulous.
Well, thank you for this opportunity to share with our community and with our Board of Commissioners about the Kiwanis Club of Tillamook. The club was chartered in December of 1922, but the first meeting was March 9 of 23. So tomorrow is exactly 100 days from our first meeting. In 1923, there was a bunch of dirt roads, plank roads. They were just beginning to talk about the Wilson River Road could be a good highway. And 5,000 residents, and Tillamook Creamery was very glad to announce that 15,000 pounds of milk a day was being accepted at their local plant. Today it's 1 to 3 million, and we all know what the roads are like, and we won't go into that in this meeting. The first service project of the Kiwanis Club was to partner with the Businessmen's Committee for the Astoria Relief Fund to help after the catastrophic fire there in 1922 that destroyed 27 blocks of that city. Currently, our KT Days Scholarship Program awards second-year college scholarships to at least 2 students in each of our 3 school districts. Approximately at $20,000 a year that it is awarded. To date, nearly $600,000 in scholarships have been awarded to 487 Tillamook County students, and so it's our honor to really help with children. We do a whole bunch of things. Community giving, Christmas baskets, diaper and wipe collection, peanut butter collection, highway cleanup, Mildred Davy garden work, June Dairy Parade marshaling, Key Club sponsor, hosting a hospitality room for regional speech and debate competition, and the THS charity drive cake auction, which this year we got in the neighborhood of $8,000 raised for that lovely purpose. So it is our delight this year to be celebrating 100 years, a century of service in Tillamook County. We had a lovely party last Saturday with a little over 100 folks from both our community as well as neighboring Kiwanis clubs and districts. And we just want to reaffirm that throughout the years, our purpose of our club has remained focused on serving our community and more specifically, serving the children of the world and of Tillamook County, and we look forward to continuing to serve for many more years to come. I realized there was another note I wrote on here. This being International Women's Day, just wanted to make a note that in 1923, none of us who are female in this room could be doing what we're doing, and that we want to honor Mildred Davy, who was our first woman member in 1987 when that became possible. And so today I stand before you just proud as heck to be a member of the Kiwanis Club, and it's been an honor to lead this year and to help it grow and serve even more.
Thank you, Melody. So I will jump in just for a moment because I am a Kiwanian as well. So I joined the Kiwanis Club back in 2007 and had the honor of serving as the president of the Kiwanis in 2011. So it was just, it's a great club. It's a great opportunity to get involved in some really, really good work in Tillamook County. I had a whole speech that I gave on Saturday, which I won't have you all have to listen to today. Melody hit on most of the high points, but it's just recognizing that service clubs in our community are really, really valuable organizations that support really good causes. And we have the Tillamook Kiwanis. The Rotary actually came to our event and celebrated with us because we've been doing some really good projects in partnership with the Rotary Club. And I understand that the Tillamook Lions Club has reformed and is starting as well. So service clubs are important, and they're great ways to engage in service. And the other thing we talked about this weekend is we engage in service through providing directly to our community, but also raising funds and giving them to other nonprofit organizations. And so for our service clubs to be successful, it really takes that partnership with the amazing nonprofits that are doing great work in our community. Otherwise, we'd just be fundraising. So it's an integrated part of our community system doing very valuable work. And I am super excited as well that we are 100 years old as a club. That is a longevity, a sustainability that not all clubs have been able to maintain. So we're very proud of that work. So those are my quick comments. Do you have any questions or comments, Commissioner Bell?
I want to offer my thanks to the Kiwanians for their excellent community service. I was just thinking about that I moved to Tillamook County in 2005 because it's beautiful. I moved for the natural beauty and the outdoor recreation opportunity, and because I love living in rural communities. But when I really fell in love with Tillamook County is when I was working at the Headlight Herald, and I learned how generous this community is, how much this community cares about other people in the community to an extraordinary degree, how much we do for each other. And that in that process, I really fell in love with the community and found that we do this more than other communities that I've lived in. And the Kiwanians are an excellent example of that. You know, people pour their passion, their time, their resources, their talents into helping their neighbors. And a couple of things that you listed an excellent list of wonderful things that you do. A couple of things that are especially moving to me are the second-year college scholarships, the scholarships in general. You know, Melody just talked about $500,000 in scholarships to local students through the years is extraordinary. And as a board member of TVCC, I'm extremely grateful that our students get the benefit of those scholarships. And I think the second-year college scholarship program is really smart, because a lot of times kids can get money, or young people, whomever, can get money for the first year, and then it's harder to get it in subsequent years. So it encourages them to stay the course and helps them to stay the course. So I'm very grateful for that. I think it's an excellent investment. And also the Christmas gift giving baskets. That is very moving to me. I grew up in poverty, and as a child in Southeast Portland, there were years where if we hadn't received something, in our case, it was the Toy and Joy Makers. But if we hadn't received something like what the Kiwanians give, we wouldn't have gotten anything. We wouldn't have had a Christmas dinner. We wouldn't have had Christmas presents. That was how it happened. And so I am so grateful that this community makes a very serious effort to provide for children in need. And, you know, it just couldn't be more important. And I'm really deeply grateful to all of you and really glad you're here.
Thank you.
Mr. Bell, would you read the resolution into the record for us, and perhaps as the motion?
In the matter of proclaiming 2023 as the 100th year of the Kiwanis Club in Tillamook County, Oregon, this matter came before the Tillamook County Board of Commissioners on March 8, 2023 at the request of Melody Ayers, President, Kiwanis Club of Tillamook. The board, being fully apprised of the representation of the above-named person, finds as follows. 1. Members of the Kiwanis Club of Tillamook are devoted to serving the children of Tillamook County, and Kiwanis International is devoted to serving the children of the world. 2. The Kiwanis Club of Tillamook has enhanced the lives of families and children in Tillamook County for a century of service from 1923 to 2023. 3. The service provided by the Kiwanis Club of Tillamook will continue to have a positive impact on our community and citizens. 4. The Kiwanis Club of Tillamook has provided $587,000 in college scholarships to 487 students in the past 66 years, and $250,000 to nonprofit community partners who support children in Tillamook County. 5. The Kiwanis Club of Tillamook looks forward to being a force for good, serving our coastal communities for many more years to come. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that the Tillamook County Board of Commissioners proclaim the year 2023 as the 100th year of the Kiwanis Club of Tillamook and encourages citizens to support the club's meaningful services to the community.
So we have
That's
a
a
motion. Okay.
That's a
And
motion, and it's resolution 23-004.
thank you. And I would second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much for being here, and I would be remiss if I didn't let people know that the Kiwanis Club of Tillamook meets every Wednesday at noon, and we meet currently at Tillamook Bay Community College, most often in rooms 214, 215 up on the second floor. Our meetings are open to anyone who is interested. We would be delighted to host you as a community member so you can meet more of us and learn what we're doing and become a part of serving the children of Tillamook County.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much, and thank everyone for coming. It's nice to have a crowd in the room. We appreciate you all.
Nice to see you all.
Okay. Item number 8, discussion and consideration of an out-of-state travel request for Commissioner David Yamamoto to attend the 2023 National Association of Counties Western Interstate Region Conference in St. George, Utah, May 15th through May 19th, 2023. And as I said, Commissioner Yamamoto is not able to be with us today, so I will carry this for him. Commissioner Yamamoto is requesting to make this travel to this conference. It is a conference of the National Association of Counties that focuses on issues of the 18 western states, of which we are one. One of the big important pieces that happens at this conference that David participates in is the EELU committee. And that committee has supported our efforts in Tillamook County to try to get a pause on the biological opinion that's coming out of FEMA that would make it so that anything in designated flood areas in Tillamook County, if it were destroyed, say, by a fire or other catastrophe, simply could not be rebuilt. And if you take a look at the map for the biological opinion, what you will see is that there's a significant amount of our economic drivers that are in those particular flood zones. So we have really appreciated the support of NACO and specifically of the EELU steering committee in putting forward advocacy and bills at the federal level to work to try to stop this from happening to Tillamook County. So this is a very important conference, and I will just address that to our commenter today, that while it may seem that these things do not have a nexus to our county and to the important pieces of our county, this one has a specific nexus. The biological opinion, if it is passed through the federal government, will be devastating to Tillamook County. Many of our dairies, their barns as an example, where they feed their cows, milk their cows, do that work, sit right smack in the area that the biological opinion affects. Should they have a catastrophe and lose their dairy barn, it would be impossible for them to rebuild if this goes through. I'm sure that many of you watching today have heard David talk about this quite a bit. We've talked about it as all three commissioners, as we have sent our own letters and our own advocacy related to this, but it is a federal nexus and it's one that's very important. So there is an order that it gets renewed at this conference for NACO that basically states that the National Association of Counties, all counties across this nation, are against the BIOP being implemented as it's written. So with that, I think this is an important conference, and I hope that we will approve this travel.
Ready for a motion?
I am.
Madam Chair, I move approval of an out-of-state travel request for Commissioner, David Yamamoto to attend the 2023 National Association of Counties Western Interstate Region Conference in St. George, Utah, May 15th through 19th, 2023.
And I will second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 9, discussion and consideration of addendum number 4 to the sale agreement with Audrey Jean Raw for property located at Township 1 South, Range 9 West, Section 29, Tax Lot 01000, Tillamook County. Rachel Haggerty, Chief of Staff.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Tillamook County is under a sale agreement for the purchase of the Raw property. This property is 46 acres on McCormick Loop Road that we're trying to acquire for the purposes of enabling housing development later in a future time. Before you is consideration of Addendum 4. Addendum 2 extended the due diligence period to February 28th, and this extends due diligence to March 7th, which has passed, but there's a 5-day period after that still allows us to close. So it's ready for your consideration, and it's been executed by Mr. Law.
Perfect, thank you. Any questions or comments, Commissioner?
I'll just comment that I got a public comment from someone asking recently how they misunderstood that, thinking that we were going to take from the general funds the money to buy this property. So I explained that the county has investment funds, and we're using investment funds to buy the property as a real property investment. We will very likely make money on it, and it'll very likely be a positive investment financially, where it's extremely unlikely that we wouldn't make money on it. But in any case, when we sell it, the money will go back into investments. So, just so people know, it's not coming from the general fund.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Ready for a motion?
I am ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move approval of addendum number 4 to sale agreement with Audrey Jean Raw for property located at Township 1 South, Range 9 West, Section 29, Tax Lot 01000 in Tillamook County.
And I would second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to move on to we have one more. Discussion and consideration of amendment number 1 to memorandum of agreement number 6169 with Columbia Pacific Economic Development District regarding broadband planning. Rachel Haggerty, Chief of Staff.
In the middle of the COVID pandemic, we executed an agreement, actually several agreements regarding what we were doing to enable distance learning. One of those agreements was with Columbia Pacific Economic Development District. The scope of work has largely passed. The agreement is expired, but Colpac still desires to have an arrangement with us for when we do have specific needs, we can roll it into this agreement. So this is an expired agreement that we're looking to extend into July 2023 for our broadband collaboration with Colpac.
Thank you.
Questions? I'm fully support.
I agree. And for those who don't know, Colpac is the Columbia Pacific Economic Development District. It's a regional economic development body that we are a part of, and I serve on the board of Colpac. In fact, I will be in Astoria tomorrow for our bi-monthly, every other month meeting with them. So I think this is a great idea. I know that they were helpful to us as we went through the planning, because as we look at broadband, not only is the way the wires run, it is not just Tillamook County unto itself, but there is actually a regional network of fiber, so it becomes important.
Madam Chair, I move approval of amendment number 1 to memorandum of agreement number 6169 with the Columbia Pacific Economic Development District regarding broadband planning.
And I would second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, now we will move on to take a number of these agenda items together. So we have discussion and consideration of agenda items number 11 through 21 for property tax deeds for foreclosed county-owned properties previously offered at the February 13, 2023 land sale auction in favor of the following individuals: Willie and Carissa McDonald, parcels number 5, 9, and 17. Annie Scriven and John Scriven, parcel number 8. David Conway, parcel number 10 and 19. Stephen Lee Pieren and Julie Ann Pieren, parcel number 12. William Lemire, parcel number 13. David Allen and Marjorie R. Allen, parcel number 14. Ryan Road, parcel number 18. Parker A. Mesereau, parcel number 20. We will be considering all property tax deeds together and making one motion for the 11 properties. So Rachel Haggerty will present this item.
So I would, if you'd like, I can go through and summarize the minimum bid sale price. Okay, so I won't repeat the names, I'll just refer to them by the parcel number. So parcel 5 is a parcel in Nehalem containing 0.3 acres. The minimum bid was $4,000. The sale price was $12,500. Parcel 9 is in Rockaway, 0.11 acres. Minimum bid price was $1,500. Sale price $7,000. Parcel 17 in Rockaway, 0.11 acres. Minimum bid price $1,500. Sale price $12,000. Parcel 8 in Rockaway, 0.11 acres. Minimum bid price $11,400. Sale price $15,000. Parcel 10 in Brighton Beach, 0.11 acres. Minimum bid price $1,500. Sale price $1,500. Parcel 19 in Rockaway, 0.06 acres. Minimum bid price $1,000. Sale price $1,000. Parcel 12 in Cape Mears, 0.11 acres. Minimum bid price $2,400. Sales price $5,250. Parcel 13 on the Little Nestucca River Road containing 0.84 acres. Minimum bid price $8,200. Sale price $8,200. Parcel 14 in Rockaway Beach containing .06 acres, minimum bid price $1,500, sale price $1,500. Parcel 18 in Rockaway Beach containing .09 acres, minimum bid price $68,300, sale price $68,300. Parcel 20 Manzanita containing .02 acres, minimum bid price $1,500, sale price $1,500. Ready for consideration?
Thank you. Questions or comments, Commissioner?
I appreciate all the work you and Isabel have done.
Thank you. I was gonna say thank you to Isabel. She's done
Yes.
all this work.
It's great. On the land sale auctions, it's great that people have the opportunity to buy these and they get back on the tax rolls and, you know, maybe some of them, it sounds like some of them might be developable, and so I think this is terrific. It's all positive.
Yeah, and I agree. There's always this question of how do you get these pieces of land, and so these are pieces of land, if I understand correctly, have ended up in foreclosure. The owners have had, I believe it's a 3-year process of foreclosure, so the opportunity for someone who owns one of these pieces of properties, when it goes into foreclosure, they're notified, they have the opportunity to pay their taxes current and to get it back if that's what they'd like to do. And if you watch our meetings once a year when those come before us, you will see that we do everything we can to not take people's property. That is not our goal. But at some of these situations, people have simply walked away and don't come back. So we end up with the piece of property. The other question that I'm always asked is, why are we not keeping these for housing development? How come we're not turning them into affordable housing or workforce housing? So I will assure everyone that Rachel and Sarah and myself go through all of these pieces of property to look and see, is there something that we could make use of in relation to addressing the housing crisis, and we do that before we put them up for auction and sale. We really want to look and make sure that if there's some way the county can contribute, we are. But if you go and look at the majority of these parcels, they are very, very tiny, and in many cases are not yet served by a roadway, and or they're outside urban growth boundaries in farm and forest zones that again cannot be developed in housing. Most of the larger parcels are out in our rural areas and just not appropriate to that use. So I thank everyone for all of the hard work, because the hard work begins obviously back in our assessor's office when there begins a foreclosure type process. It continues through the commissioner's office with Rachel and Isabel. It takes another important step with Rachel and Sarah to evaluate these pieces of property before we sell them, and then of course the sale itself. So a lot of work goes into this, and we would absolutely prefer just not to have properties come to us and shortcut all of this work and just let people keep their property, but property taxes must be paid. So, yes.
I just want to follow up on that.
Yes, please do, Bill.
Cassandra Larson in the tax department is unbelievable about going beyond what is statutorily required to contact people about the fact that they're behind in their tax payments, and they really need to come in and at least pay 1 year to get it off
Right.
Off of the rolls. It's incredible the things that she and her staff do that I'm sure don't happen very many places. And secondly, there's been many occasions, there were several occasions where we had the opportunity to take somebody's property, but somebody was living there, it was their home, and they were in dire straits, and we would set them up with people from the state to try to counsel them and come up with innovative ideas on how to, they could save their property that they had invested in their whole lives. And so anyway, I echo that as always when kind of the key is we don't want to take these. I mean, many of them are just pieces of property here and there. They're, sort of parcels, but some of them are homes and people's places, and so it puts you in a really tough spot when you get to that point. Yeah. That doesn't happen very often, I think, because of the tax department's zealous pursuit of trying to get people to see the light and come in and pay taxes rather than ending up where we're ending up today.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. When I was working at CARE prior to becoming a county commissioner, we had a couple of different situations where in fact we were contacted by the county and asked to assist because the individuals that were in the homes were senior and or disabled and really just unable to pay their taxes, but nobody wanted to put them out without having a place for them, and CARE was contacted to assist with some placements for folks. So I do think the county works very hard to try not to have to take property and absolutely not to displace people within that. So I appreciate the efforts as well. It's something that, being a small county, we have the opportunity to really do some of the above and beyonds. So that's a lot of it. All right, with that in mind, we do have properties that were foreclosed and have since been through the statutory process, sold as we are required to do through the statutory process. So I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration of agenda items 11 through 21 for property tax deeds for tax foreclosed county-owned properties previously offered at the February 13th, 2023 land sale auction in favor of the following: Willie and Carissa McDonald, parcels 5, 9, and 17. Annie Scriven and John Scriven, parcel 8. David Conway, parcel 10 and 19. Stephen Lee Piran and Julianne Piran, parcel 12. William Lemire, parcel 13. David Allen and Marjorie R. Allen, parcel 14. Brian Rode, parcel 18. Parker A. Mersereau, parcel 20. I move approval.
And I would second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, that just moved us right along from number 11 all the way down through and including item number 21. So we will go ahead and take an unscheduled item at this time. The item is Senate Bill 847-5, Rural Liability Protection for Safe Resting Places. So as we've talked about, there are a lot of things happening at the state legislature right now, and they're moving very rapidly. I was made aware of Senate Bill 847 a couple of weeks ago. We were waiting for the amendment language to come through. The gist of Senate Bill 847 is that in many of our rural areas, there are cities and counties that have pieces of property that could be used for low barrier shelter, places where folks could either stay in a pallet shelter, which is one of the things that Tillamook is working toward through CARE, who has a grant for that, or it could be a space where that could be made available for tent camping or RV parking, different places and spaces that could help make a difference for those who are experiencing homelessness. But there is a liability factor to cities and or counties when they utilize property for that. It is not something that some of the insurance companies will cover. So what this bill does is it spells out some requirements that would be on those campsites, and if those requirements are met, there is a release from liability for the county or the city who owns the piece of property. So it's currently moving rapidly through the Senate, and I am requesting that Tillamook County sign on our support for Senate Bill 847-5, indicating that as a rural community, we believe that that relief of liability from cities and counties would lead to greater siting of these types of low barrier shelters.
Thank you. I support this because it is a significant barrier. It's a significant barrier to municipalities, to local governments to consider their liability in trying to come up with solutions to the problem. So I'm fully supportive.
Perfect. So this is not a letter of support. What they are asking is for us to have a vote of support and to include our logo onto the materials that they are creating. So I don't have a specific letter for you. I have the information piece, and I'm just moving approval to sign on for support.
Ready for a motion?
I am.
Madam Chair, I move approval of Tillamook County's support for Senate Bill 847-5.
I will second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we are down to board concerns. Do you have any board concerns today, Commissioner Bell? Okay, I am going to hearken back to what Melody Ayers shared, and I'm going to actually give credit to our wonderful camera woman here with us, Jane, who reminded us that it is International Women's Day, and that the two of us sitting here today as part of your governing body probably would not have been able to sit here as part of the governing body 50 years ago. And there are a number of other things that we couldn't have done 50 years ago. And so it's just a great opportunity for women for the entire society to think about what we contribute as women that wouldn't have been allowed in the past, and to celebrate that we're all able to sit at these tables and to have the contributions that we do. So,
Likewise, to participate in local government, to participate in state and national government, international government, it really is extraordinary. And all of the other places in society where women were not present, maybe even when we were born.
yes. When I was back in Washington, D.C., I had the opportunity to visit the National Archives Museum and look at our Declaration of Independence, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and to really remind myself and refresh with that history how we did get to where we are, and the number of spaces in there where they talked about how the founding fathers were often informed, encouraged, and pushed forward by the founding mothers, whose names are not on any of those documents, who we don't hear about. But rarely were those founding fathers not backed by a woman. So we have been there, we just haven't been able to visibly be a part of this work for a very, from the beginning. So it's exciting to be where we can. So we should celebrate. We should celebrate. And thank you, Jane Scott, for bringing that to my attention today. I had seen it on Facebook, but things get reposted out of date, and I wasn't sure if it was true. Okay, then I will move on to board announcements. The Board of Commissioners will hold a board briefing on Wednesday, March 8th at 2 p.m. to discuss weekly commissioner updates. The meeting will be held in the Board of Commissioners meeting room 106 in the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. The Board of Commissioners will attend a public hearing on Tuesday, March 14th, 2023 at 5 p.m. to consider a request for approval of number 851-21-000086-PLNG-01 for an exception to statewide planning goal 18, implementation measure 5, approval of a comprehensive plan amendment for a committed exception and/or a reasons exception to Goal 18, Implementation Measure 5, for the construction of shoreline stabilization along the westerly lots of the Pine Beach subdivision located within the Barview Twin Rocks Watseko unincorporated community boundary, along with floodplain development permit request number 851-21-000086-PLNG. The subject properties are lots 11 through 20 of the Pine Beach replat unit number 1, designated as tax lots 114 through 123 of section 7DD, and tax lots 3,000, 3,100, 3,104, 3,203, and 3,204 of section 7DA, all in Township 1, Range 10 west of the Willamette Meridian, Tillamook County, Oregon. The hearing will take place at the Port of Tillamook Bay Conference Room, 4000 Blint Boulevard, Tillamook, Oregon. The teleconference number is 971-254-3149, conference ID 887-242-77#. Land use is something I had never thought would be something that I've had to become an expert at.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Scott, is that the one that in plain terms is the revetment in Rockaway Beach that the board heard at one time and approved and was taken up to LUBA, and now LUBA said we need a little more from y'all, and so you're revisiting that.
That is correct. So, and I have another one because we love land use, and because once they go to LUBA, they do have the right to send it back and ask for more information. So the Board of Commissioners will attend a public hearing on Thursday, March 16th, 2023 at 5 p.m. to consider request for approval of number 851-21-00416-PL and G for a conditional use approval of a 19-site recreational campground on an approximately 18-acre portion of a 58.51-acre parcel accessed by Floyd Avenue, strange wrap of the text, accessed via Floyd Avenue, a county local access road, and is designated as tax lot 600 of section 6, township 4 south, range 10 west of the Willamette Meridian, Tillamook County, Oregon. This hearing will take place at the Port of Tillamook Bay Conference Room, 4000 Blint Boulevard, Tillamook, Oregon. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149, conference ID 887-242-77#. So, with that, if there are no other comments for the good of the order, we will adjourn this meeting at 9:46 a.m. Thank you.